Hello YouTube modeling community. This is Rusty Rotor. First, I'm a grandpa again. Since last we've talked. Threefold. Xander, Richard James Wyckoff was born into this world November 15th, about 1:30 in the afternoon. He was 7 pounds 3 ounces and 20 inches long. He's got some long fingers and some long toes. And this boy's going to be big, tall, and fast. Just saying. But no, it was a great day. Got to see him again Saturday. Got to feed him, hold him, burp him. It's just a blessing. I'm very, very blessed and very humbled. So, just to get that all out of the way, a lot of you know, I was expecting him, and it's happened. It was great. No issues, no problems, no complications. Nada. Everything went great. So, thank you to the man above for looking out. Today is a mail call and a kind of a visual mental Monday, if that makes any sense. Like I said, I've been tossing this around my head. There's one part of this I didn't get. They're a little pricey. I would absolutely love to have them. So, AK, if you're watching, I could use your sponsorship for a while. And that is, the topic is metallizers. You hear everybody throw them around, what's all about them, and what benefit do they have, what do they do, how do they work, yada, yada, yada. So we have here today 2 different brands, not so much different effects, but you can create different effects with them, don't get me wrong, but two different ways of achieving it. I was hoping to get the third by the time I actually made this video, but I couldn't. And those were the AK True Metal. They come in a tube. A tube will last you a lifetime if you properly keep it clean, the lid clean, and so on and so forth. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they are like a metal tube. So you can roll up like the old tubes of toothpaste, if you guys remember those, or they're plastic, one of the two. I've only seen them here and there, and I've seen some of them on Amazon, but I'm going to here before long get the complete set. It'll last me the rest of my lifetime and then some. But I'm just like everybody else in the world of modeling. We got used to the Model Masters brand metallizers. Now that they're gone, it's hard to find these things. They will last forever if you keep them shook up, stirred up. Just don't leave them sit forever and not unattended. First, we're going to go over this color. This is a burnt metal, and it tells you on here if it's buffable. And by buffable means once you've put it on and it gases out, dries, you can use like a Q-tip or a cotton swab, and you can go across and kind of polish it out. This is very handsy, I guess, kind of like Molotow. The more you handle it, it'll wear off. And the other brand we're going to talk about is the same way. I found it out about all of them. There is a cure for that. And I'll tell you my method and how I do it. And you guys have seen the results on the models that I build. I don't do a lot of, metallizing. I usually use it mostly for my exhaust, mufflers, engine components, stuff like that, where you want the metal to replicate like the real stuff. And especially guys that are into like pro mods, dragsters, race cars, funny cars. These are really kind of probably one of their main things in their arsenal, because there's a lot of, bare aluminum, stainless steel, so on and so forth, just raw steel. There's a lot of that in those genres, and to replicate that and have that, these things come in handy. But if you run across these Model Masters, always make sure you look at it and see that it is, if it's buffable or polishable. They generally say on them, not all of them do, and I found that that is where you kind of read between the lines that it's not. The true ones tell you. Now, the benefit I like about these two brands versus the AK True Metals, most of these are ready to spray out of the airbrush. I would still use leveling thinner with this and thin it down, you know, just a hair. It says on the jar, and this has been a topic of debate for quite some time, airbrush only. That is not true. I've only brush painted these, and the results are great. Now, airbrushing, of course, is thin layers, and you can build up to the look you want. You can clear coat over them or move on, whatever. You can use a water soluble varnish, whether it be matte, satin, semi-gloss, gloss, so on and so forth. Those all work on these. Remember, lacquer first, water based over, not the other way around, so you don't bubble up the paint. But I've also found that that is incorrect also. There's very, very many water-based paints that I use, and in small areas and small quantities, using a clear coat over them, such as 2K. It's very forgiving for what's underneath. It won't do anything to your paint. Now, on a larger scale area, I'm not for sure, so I would not trust it. I would use the tried and true method. But, you know, like here we have, like I said, burnt metal. This is great on, like, for exhaust manifolds. Any brand. And then you can come back over with the Testors made it's a brown. I don't have it here in front of me, but it looks like rust. And I always like, if I was making stuff rusty and crusty, I would do the main coat with this, and then I would add little effects of that, like around the bolt heads and other areas with that light brown, and it would give the true example of like a raw steel exhaust manifold that's been heated, and then it's got some rust starting. You know, it's a good little weathering trick. This one is polishable. This is the aluminum. Oh, no, it's not. It says non-buffing metallizer. See, so it does say on there, non-buffing metallizer. It says for airbrush only. Same way. I've used it with a brush. It works great. No issues. The only difference is where the airbrush will lay a nice even coat. When you brush, sometimes it will not cover the first coat. You have to come back over it with another coat. No big deal. I mean, for the little parts I'm painting, I don't always break out my airbrush to paint all those tiny little parts. A lot of guys do. You know, 2 hours prepping everything, or just get the jar out and a little brush and start painting. I enjoy hand painting, so to me, it's just part of my routine. But this aluminum is the best aluminum I've found. It's not going to do it justice looking at it through the camera and on the jar, but that is a very good looking aluminum. It's not quite a polished aluminum. You can get the polished aluminum look by putting a clear coat over it. This is stainless steel. I don't know. Sounds like there's some in here. You know, these things need to be shaken up quite often. This is, yeah, stainless steel buffing. So you can buff this when it's done. There's stainless steel. I break these out all the time. Now, these are lacquer based. I'm almost positive. Analyzer lacquer, yep. And it'll tell you on there. So I think some of them were in acrylic. That's lacquer. That's lacquer. This is just a Model Master. This is one too. This is jet exhaust, so it's a little bit more toned. This is one of my favorite shades. This is a brand new jar, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, this, you know, it's brand new because this always comes out the first time you use it, and there's no paint around there. I love, love, love these metallizers. They are my absolute favorite. I always got compliments on my exhausts and stuff like that. What did you use? How did you use that? Because once you're done with them, you can come back with the black wash over them, and it just pow. It just makes it stand out and look like real metal. I like using Model Masters Flat Black. This is a new jar, but this stuff is amazing. I've not used it yet. First time opening it. You can pretty much one coat this. This isn't an enamel, but you still would use a cheap lacquer thinner to clean your brush and airbrush out if you thinned it down. But you would want to thin this down with the like Mr. Color Leveling Thinner to make it airbrush ready. Jet exhaust. See, there's another one. I have a couple of those. I use them on all my exhausts. And then I have, this is the burnt metal again. Do I have 2 burnt metals? Yes, I have 2 burnt metals and 2 jet exhausts, because that's primarily what I used on my exhausts on the cars. Stainless steel. I always like, if there was a roll cage or something like that, I would do it in stainless steel. This, you'd always want to use a black wash over. It tones it down, makes it look more like stainless steel would look. But after you're done painting, whether you airbrush or brush paint, remember guys, these are all brushable. Even though it says airbrush only, it's not. It's just, it's airbrush ready when it says airbrush only. I still use a little either reducer or leveling thinner in there with that so it thins out, or sprays really nice to the airbrush. Model Masters made a sealer for metallizer. Same way it says airbrush only. That's a freaking lie. Don't believe it. Don't pass by it because it says that. I've only brush painted this stuff ever because they're tiny little parts. I just hurry up when I'm done. I put a coat over it. It seals it, so then it is no more. You're not gonna wear it off by handling it and mocking up your build, 20 or 30 times, wear it off, and then have to constantly retouch it up. Use this. Then you can come back over it with your matte finish, your clear, gloss, whatever you want to do after this. But this is also lacquer based. It works great. And this works great on the other product as well. So, if you can get your hands on these, definitely do it. 100% with my life guarantee these for any kind of metals you're trying to replicate, whether it be aluminums. They had all different shades of aluminum. I never got the darker aluminum and the other shades. These worked for me right out of the gate, and I just kind of stuck with them. These are actually, all these are my second set of all these colors. I've gone through some of them twice, some of them once, and now. And these were starting to go away a couple years ago, and I started, when I found them, I'd stock up on them. So that's my little secret stash for the Model Masters brand. And then again, get a jar of this. I only use it for the metallizers. I don't use it for anything else. As you can see, I've barely used any. I mean, it was right up to that top edge, so I've used maybe 30 seconds of it, if that. What's the 30 seconds? 64th of it. Not much at all. Our second brand is Vallejo. I saw these online, and I was like, well, I wonder if those are the same thing, because I can't find these anymore. I'm really struggling, but I use them all the time. So I was looking at the AK True Metals at the time, and I was like, well, this is half the price. Some of them get a little more pricey, but these were basically half price of what the True Metals were. Even though I knew True Metal fit the balling on the budget, spend a little more now and never have to buy it again, theory. But if you don't have the money at the time and you need something, you go with what you can afford and what you can buy. I've absolutely fallen in love with these. These Vallejo acrylic. These are the new formula. Metal color. I bought these in 2 different sets. And I got 4, I think. 3? I don't know. I think one set had 4 and one set had 3. Because, yeah, I only bought 2 sets. I bought another one. Oh, here it is. 2 sets of 4. Uh, so it's like I was trying to buy them in sets, where it was a little cheaper buying it that way, and then get the colors I really wanted to replace on the Model Masters. So I was very reluctant. When I first got them, I'm like, these are kind of, water cleanup. I don't recommend using water to clean these up. And a combination of water and washer fluid, the blue stuff, the cheap stuff, buy a gallon of it for a few bucks. It lasts you for years. I'm going on 3 years with a gallon. Make sure if you keep it in a gallon jug, you put a little hole in the top of it. It will evaporate some over time, but if you don't, it will expand and then it'll start leaking. So put it in a good sealed container that, limits all that. So now back to the scheduled program. These came in four pack set. I don't know which ones came with which anymore. But working with them over time, the number one thing you got to worry about these is they got a little ball down in them, and you want to shake these up. These are airbrush. It says airbrush colors. They are airbrush ready. They're thin down enough that you can use them straight out of the airbrush. I never thin them down anymore. But you do want to give it a good shake. There goes the ball. 5-10 minutes by hand, or if you got a little, like I do, a little battery operated shaker, put it in there for 2 or 3 minutes, and you're good to go. Because if not, you're kind of like in the old Tesser's bottles. You're working off the thinner floats to the top, and then you're just working off a real thin base. You're wondering why one coat ain't getting it. If you want it to be one coat, you gotta really shake it up. Airbrush these and brush paint them. I don't know about the old formula. I heard a lot of negativity about that. The new formula, I've not heard too many negative things about it. For me, speaking in third person, Rusty Rotor's thing, I like them. There is some more shades of these that I don't have that I'm going to get because having them all. And it's a good sized bottle. I've not even put a dent in any of these for the amount. I just put a couple drops in a little metal bowl. Here we go. I bought a set of these. These were 2. I got them at Hobby Lobby for like $3 and change. If you just leave it in there, you just take something hard and it'll show you an example. I always keep my old blades. But you can just scrape it out of that metal thing. And then every once in a while I pour a little cheap thinner down in there and I let it sit for a minute or two, and then I clean it all out. No problem. This is a lifetime investment. Matter of fact, I'm going to, if I get any gift cards this year, I'm going to buy some more of these because I'm always finding myself needing them. And you can use any little thing, a little piece of plastic, your old mixing cups, just a couple of drops on there. It don't really matter, but the fact of having something permanent is really nice, so on and so forth. Now, one thing I have found with these versus those I apply right to cleaned styrene. So after you've washed your styrene and let it dry, I've applied the metallizers from Model Masters directly to the raw plastic. No issues whatsoever. These I've applied to bare plastic as well. Very little issue. A lot of times even though you wash your parts, there's things that's not seen, and these will separate a little bit. I go ahead and just apply it and let it dry. That gives kind of like a base coat, and then I can come back over and then I never have any issues. But you can avoid that by using Vallejo primer. This big bottle of primer I think was like $9. You can get it in black and light gray. Mix them together, you get dark gray. You put some of this in with the black, and you can really start lightening up the black if you want. I think they even have this in white. This I use for Createx because it's a water-based paint. I've even shot small pieces of lacquer over top of this primer. If you let this dry really good, it bonds really well, and you don't get too many issues. Bigger areas, guys, I can't vouch for because I've never done it, like a whole body. I've always stayed true to the method. If it's water-based, I stick with water-based. The only difference is using the 2K over Createx is okay. It works. It doesn't affect the paint. So if I'm going to use this as my base primer, is going to get a Createx product over top of it, or Vallejo. The black primer, or any black primer, works the best underneath the metallizers. It's kind of like the all-clad theory. You know, the gloss black underneath the chrome makes it really shiny. Any black base or gloss black base with an all-clad works the best. This is kind of the same way. You can do it over the light gray, but keep in mind some of these shades are really light, so it's hard to see, and you can miss spots. It's not a big deal. You just come back over with another coat, and you get it all. Figure painting like Warhammer or anything like that, this is the perfect stuff. This is airbrush ready. I don't have to thin it. Shake it up, pour it in my airbrush, spray it on. No worries. So these are really handy, guys. They're a little pricey, $9 or something, but I've had this for 3 years, going on 4 years, and I've not used maybe a quarter of the bottle. So, you know, courtesy of Hobby Nut Models, he sent me this. This I found in with these and the regular little Vallejo paints and the AK paints. Works great. If you're going to be quite a while painting little parts, add a drop or two of thinner and an extra drop of paint, stir it up really good, and it lasts longer. It thins it out and gives you more time to, you know, brush paint everything. I would not mix this with this airbrushing. This is already thin enough. Doesn't need anything. But, you know, it's your preference what you choose. So, you know, we've got pale burnt metal. We've got jet exhaust. We've got silver. We've got gunmetal gray. We've got aluminum. We've got dark aluminum. So I got the shade that I was looking for. I couldn't get in the Model Masters. Magnesium, which is really good for just doing things if you want a certain look on a certain part. Little metal brackets and stuff like that. It gives the appearance of a darker steel or what have you, and I really like it. And then I have steel. This looks like raw steel once it's done. This can go over top of this and seal this in for you before you add your main clear coats, whether it be gloss, matte, semi-gloss, whatever it may be. It's all up to you what look you're going on. And then I have this old crappy thing my daughter threw away. I grabbed, snatched out of the garbage. I keep them all in. All my metallizers stay in here. I have 2 of them. Here's the other one, right here. And I put the other ones in there, my sealer, my thinner, and my primer. So when I'm painting all those little intricate parts, I just set these next to my side, along with 1 or 2 of these. And, you know, this little thing I got from Temu, I keep water in. When it gets gross like it is now, I take it and clean it out in hot water and soap, cleans it right up. I fill up the jug. I put water down in there, and I fill up the jug with washer fluid. It's got the alcohol in it. That will clean these. It will not clean these. So just have a little jar. I got a little empty paint bottle I filled with cheap lacquer thinner over there. And I usually keep that in here with this, along with the washer fluid. And I have everything I possibly could need. And then paint brushes, you know, those are always by choice and preference. So, again, the only other ones that I know that are tried and true are the true metal. They come in a tube. They look like the old oil paints you would get at the hobby shop or art supply store for doing oil painting. I had somebody put me some in a little something and send me once, and I used it, and I absolutely loved it because you can use it right out of the tube. Put it in a little metal tray, stir it up with your stick, add a drop of thinner to it. It thins it down and gives you 3 times the amount that you need. So you can legitimately keep a little jar like this, clean it out, and mix it half and half. You know, squeeze a little bit down in here and fill it up with thinner. The other half, shake it up, and you have little jars to keep it in. It's ready to go. Or you can just use it right out of the tube. Mine, the experience I had was right out of the tube, and it worked great. So, and I think, I'm not positive, so don't hold me to this, that it is buffable. Some of the shades are buffable. So like the aluminum, you can buff on that aluminum and you can get that aluminum shiny, almost like chrome. Then you add your clear coat to it and it'll enhance that and protect it. But I would still always go over it with the sealer first to protect it meanwhile until you get to that point. So that's it for that, guys. We'll go wrap this up. I only had one thing come in the mail. Market Hobby Nut Models, like I said, I traded in this kit for primers and everything else we went over. He put one aside for me when it came in because I wanted to replenish my stash for me using the original release version of this, which was missing parts. So now I got a true full kit. I will build this exactly like the box art one day, the colors and all. I like that yellow, black, and red look. I really like the tires and wheels. I love the engine that's in it. I like the way, so far, using it for the Mustang, how everything fits together. I don't know if this has all the same parts, but from the engine components forward, it does. The chassis, the roll cage, the nitrous bottle, fire extinguisher, all that is pretty much the same from what I can see. So yeah, we will be doing that up. And this one, you can see the painted picture of the interior. That's kind of how we'll be doing the Mustang, but in blacks. So the center will be a flat black, and the sides will be like a satin semi-gloss to represent leather. And that way it gives it that two-tone appearance also. Since we're trying to stay true to the OEM look of the Mach 1 Mustang, Boss Mustang, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so we thank Mark for this version of it. I did pay for this kit. It wasn't a freebie, but he did give me some discounted prices. So, again, thank you to Mark for holding this for us and getting it out to us really quick. We got it after it was processed. It took 3 days to get here. Now, he is 6 hours away from me. It's not very far, so, still. I hope you guys enjoyed this on the metallizers. You've already seen how they work via my work when I show the exhausts and the engine compartments and stuff like that. Those are all metallizers. I use them on every single build. There's not one build that I haven't done, even airplanes, that I've not used the metallizers. They are a definite must-have in your arsenal of, detailing. You want those real looks. It's no different than, here's AK. Anthracite gray. I use this a lot, especially like on the old flathead V8s. This is great. I thin this down with this in order to shoot it through the airbrush, or I just squirt a little bit out and I use it straight like it is, and maybe thin it with a drop of water to use, and that's the water ratio, washer fluid and water. It's usually 6-to-1 ratio of the washer fluid to water. Then it is 2-to-1 using that with this to thin it down. So if you got to pause this and write that down, 2-to-1 once you've mixed it up with the paint. That'll give you a little paint time before it wants to start drying up. Acrylics dry up pretty quick, so you either have to use a reducer or a flow improver to delay that dry time. The washer fluid will do that to a degree. That's why you're adding the water to the washer fluid. If it was straight washer fluid, it would still dry pretty quick because the alcohol evaporates fast. But with the water in it, you're watering it down a little bit. Between 4 to 6-to-1 of the washer fluid and water, 2-to-1 on this. One being a good little squeeze drop, about the size of that chrome you see there. That's Molotow. You see, Molotow dries nice. You can handle it. It's not wearing off of there. You got to give Molotow enough time to dry, which I have found is about 3 to 4 days per coat. And then sealing, if you're going to seal it, you'll want to use a water-based product over it, because anything else over it, clear coat, will go on it, but it'll turn it to the aluminum look. So if you want to keep that true chrome shine, it's a water-based product over it, and I've got a lot better results. So I hope you've happy. And here's a good example: the Vallejo gloss. I will use this over the Model Masters or the Vallejo brand or the True Metals. Whether I'm using gloss, satin, matte, it don't matter. These are great little tools to have in your arsenal as well. I've gone through a couple of the satin. I've not even used up a quarter of the gloss or the matte yet. Stuff, you can thin this down the same way to get a longer, longer brush time with it. So don't doubt Vallejos. They have a purpose in the automotive hobby. Pick out your colors you like to use. Here's my green that I'll use for my caps on my antifreeze bottles, or radiator overflow tanks. That green, blue. This is a flat blue. This works really good if you're doing like the Richard Petty stuff, and there's a different shade of blue you use like on the engine components. This is what I use. It worked great. I just put a matte varnish over it, or a semi-gloss varnish over it, and it keeps it from wearing off the more you touch it. Same process, guys. I absolutely love these Model Master glue. It's got the nice, I've had this for about 5 years, and it's probably about got a quarter of a bottle left. It's great for getting into small areas. Now this is like liquid glue, liquid cement. It has a purpose. It's not for everything, but it does work great when you need it, and it's got that little needle applicator, works great. Use a little thin piece of wire to clean out that needle every once in a while. That's basically the only maintenance you have to do. Other than make sure you get that lid on good so it seals. I also use the Model Master Canopy glue. Dries crystal clear. I've used it on my lenses for my dashboards, gluing my windshields in, headlights, you name it. I've just found that Mod Podge and others work just as good, and I can buy a big bottle of Mod Podge and it lasts a lifetime, and I can save the canopy glue for other more important things. So it's just trial and error, guys. We could do 1,000 videos, all the different little tools and stuff I use, and I told you after last year we would get more into tools and everything I use, and we still are. So you just gotta stay tuned. So again, thank you to all my past, present, and future subscribers. We jumped really good, guys. We're like 971. We're 29 away. 29 away from the big giveaway. This week, I'm going to be gathering up all the aftermarket parts that I talked about to put with them. I will show those in one of the videos for this week. And that, that'll complete everything for the first place. I'll get the engine cleaned up. I'll get it in baggies. Any other parts that possibly could be used for that, I'll get that in there as well. It's kind of Frankenstein, guys. It's not tried and true that I went out and purchased this, I went out and purchased that. It's a 572 engine. It is one scale bigger than the car, being 125th. You will have to modify to fit that engine in that car. It will fit. Good example, the 58 Impala. It's 125th. It's a 124 scale engine. Fits down in there just fine. The Nova, Wife's Choice, the gray Nova, that is a 124th 632 in a 125th scale kit. They do fit. Just got to do a little extra work. Even if it was 124th scale, or 125th scale, I'm sorry, you would still have to do a little modification to fit the big block engine in it. It's a big engine regardless. So just keep all that in mind. When you go to customize a kit, there's going to be some modification having to be done to it, and I can't wait to see what the winner does with it. This week, the next video will be, I don't know what day it'll drop, but it will be about the villain build and the shorty build. Parts that we've already gathered, we got going. Not only that, it'll be the look at it here, the 66 Mobius short bed build, the F100. It is a absolutely beautiful kit if you build it right out of the box. But like I said before, thanks to a friend of mine, he created the back half of the chassis and suspension, front suspension, the engine, tires and wheels, and all the little goodies and components for that build. So I promised him that I'd build it that way, and we're going to go a different route with the paint than the box art, but we're going to get into all that this week. It'll be the reveal of the villain, Shorty, and then the 66 short bed. Those are 3 of the trucks that will be going to Acme with me next year. You will see them later on throughout on different sections. We'll get Rat Rod repaired and back up in the display case until I get a trophy for him. He'll keep going to shows. I am going to do some update work to it as well. So it'll take me a day or 2 to get it fixed and done and ready to go back in there. And we might look at it again then. So the way you know is you subscribe, you hit that bell notification. It's free, 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 free. All you got to do is push 2 little buttons, and you'll get to see what this lunatic comes up with and what I'm doing next. Thank you guys for all the love for my niece on the past 3 videos. She's doing a great job. Again, she is a beginner. She's learning as she goes, and I think she's doing an amazing job because I compare myself, where I'm basically 58 years old, and I could not do a quarter of what she does as a beginner. So, you know, big round of applause to Riley. You guys, as she gets better and better, she said it, she is open. If you guys need some services, if you're a beginner and you struggle like me to put out a better quality video, you know, you just contact me, let me know. I'll let her know. I'll put you guys together and you can work out the deal from there. That is not on me. So again, I hope you're enjoying that, the better videos. We will sometime this year transition from my phone to the GoPro. Baby steps. Again, 29 subs away, guys. Come on, pass the word. Get other people watching the videos. Get us to that mark. And we'll be doing the giveaway. And then we can be starting with a clean, fresh slate. A new milestone marker. New prizes to come. All that great stuff. So, again, guys, thank you very much. It has made me very happy that we jumped real quick again and more people are getting involved. And some of that was due to Sean. So thank you to Sean over at the Model Car Guy channel. Sean, everybody knows him. He's a super, super, super nice guy. I've followed him for years. I'll follow him to the end of my days. He's become a pretty good friend. And I thank him from the bottom of my heart for shouting the channel out again. That helped tremendously. So that's goes back on what I spoke about before, guys. If we help each other out, we can all lift each other up and all be at a nice platform where we want to be. So again, thank you to Sean. Thank you to my niece Riley. Thank you to all of you who make this possible. You know, we're getting there little by little, and that's great. We're close to that milestone, and that makes me super happy. And everybody knows the reasoning for it. It's not to financially gain anything. It's to give away financial, you know, that I've gained and pay it forward. That's all it's about. So, until the next one, guys, this is Rusty Rotor. I'm out.